You want to see what shock would be?
People being held accountable that's listed on these Epstein files. That would be extremely shocking.
And I have to be honest, the stock market is at an all-time high right now.
So this stock market has been up like a rocket, and no wonder the President of the United States wants to talk about.
I thought it would have been down 20, 25%.
Are you talking about the stock market?
Wait a minute. Wait, can I finish my question, wise guy? Stock market's at an all-time high right now. I projected, and I'm pretty good at this, that the stock market, Howard, would drop maybe 20%, 25%, and I understood that, and I said, hey, it's a bad thing, but I have to do what's right for the country, even the world, because you can't have them, you cannot let them have a nuclear weapon. So
100%, you cannot let the ops have that type of resource, but I hope he's telling the truth. Let me know in the comments, do you think he is capping, or is this all a distraction because he's been exposed, being listed X amount of times in those e-files?
the stock market, unlike what a lot of people were predicting, I thought they weren't necessarily wrong. The stock market today hit an all-time high. Hit an all-time high yesterday, the day before.
Sir, would you use a nuclear weapon against Iran? You posted on
No.
Truth Social
No,
a few weeks ago.
we don't need
That's
it.
not
Why
what
do I
that's
need
about.
it? Why would a stupid question like that be asked?
You post
Why would I use a nuclear weapon when we've totally, in a very conventional way, decimated them without it? No, I wouldn't use it. A nuclear weapon should never be allowed to be used by anybody.
I'm happy to hear from the POTUS mouth that he is not going to go to the extreme to take out everyone out of the expense of what.
Why would a stupid question like that be asked?
post
Why
on
would
your
I
social
use a nuclear weapon when we've totally, in a very conventional way, decimated them without it? No, I wouldn't use it. A nuclear weapon should never be allowed to be used by anybody. No pressure. It's only guys like you with a question like that about what's your time. We've been doing it for 5.5 weeks.
But sir,
Is your administration
it's been
President?
8 weeks that the U.S. now has been involved with Iran. You had initially said it would be 4 to 6
Well,
weeks,
I
and it
hope
would be
that,
over.
but I also took a little break. I gave them a break, and
He said he was going to do something in 46 weeks, but he had to take a break.
Stop the cap.
but Israel is going to have to defend itself if they're shot at, and they will. I would never say that they can't. It would be nice if they wouldn't have to bother with that, but if something happens, they're going to have to defend themselves, as you know. But they're going to do it carefully, and they're going to be surgical as opposed to beyond surgical. And you know, there's a lot they can do, but Israel is going to have to defend itself. Now all we're doing is sitting back and seeing what deal. And if they don't want to make a deal, then I'll finish it up militarily with the other 25% of the targets. We've hit 78% of the targets that we've wanted to hit. We've knocked out their manufacturing. We've knocked out their missile production. We've knocked out their drone production. We've knocked out everything. In some cases, when I say knocked it out, 70, 80, 90%. It's amazing what we've done. So I've done that within that period of time that I mentioned, but I don't want to rush myself, you know, because every story says, oh, Trump is under time pressure. I'm not, no. You know who's under time pressure? They are. Because if they don't get their oil moving, their whole oil infrastructure is going to explode. You know what that means? Because they have no place to store it. And because they have no place to store it, if they have to stop it, something happens that only Len can explain. Something happens underground that essentially renders it in very poor shape, and you never recover fully. You can recover 50, 60%, but you can never have it like it is right now. And they have a matter of days before that event takes place. So I'm not under any pressure whatsoever. We've never had so much ammunition. Our ships are loaded. I call them locked and loaded. They're locked and loaded. They're ready to go. We have much higher quality equipment than we did when we first started the war, and or the military operation, whatever you want to call it. And they're coming to us. The problem they have is they are very disorganized right now. Well,
Crazy work how people complain about living in the United States, but they don't complain about the luxury of being protected. Because say what you may about the cons of what's going on in the United States of America, but it is one of the strongest military of the world. That's probably why America is so much in debt, because they spend millions upon billions of dollars in the military. Also, it is because of the past vets that America has its freedom. I understand blood was shed. Regardless, it's nothing sweet. There is nothing sweet out here. Blood had to be shed for your freedom. But in real life, in current day, you have people living in America so ungrateful. Well, go to a third world country and see how sweet it is. Because sometimes people don't know what they got until it is gone.
We continue our work on negotiating international trade agreements. 59 days after we stood in this office and President Trump, standing with Albert Bourla from Pfizer, announced the first of the 17 MFN deals.
Yo, this man really is taking a nap. Play the sack.
Together with our colleagues from the Department of Commerce under Secretary Lutnick's leadership and from the U.S. Trade Representative's office under the leadership of Ambassador Greer, we negotiated a landmark agreement with the government of the United Kingdom in which they agreed to increase significantly the amount that they spend on branded pharmaceuticals for the first time in 26 years. That work continues with other countries. And third, we will continue our work with our partners in Congress to codify the principles that underpin these most favored nation deals so that these savings for American families and this innovation that is unleashed at the same time persists for decades to come.
They're the top companies in the world. And we've been looking at it. UK did it, a couple of other people did it. They think they're going to make an easy buck. That's why they've all taken advantage of our country. They don't take advantage of it. No, we've been looking at it, and we can meet that very easily by just putting a big tariff on the UK, so they better be careful. If they don't drop the tax, we'll probably put a big tariff on the UK.
What if they expect 5%, 10%, something similar?
Whatever, I mean, more than what they're getting. They shouldn't be doing that. That's all that's doing is really targeting. It's targeting great companies, but they're our companies. It's like us targeting their companies, which we could do very easily. But you don't have big companies like that. You don't have those great companies. Not fair. I have an obligation to protect our companies. That's how they became great.
Partially because I don't want to go to prison, and partially because I think it's important for the President of the United States to be able to talk to his advisors without those advisors running their mouth to the American media.
How long are you willing to wait until you get a
Well,
unified response?
Don't rush me, Jeff. Guys like you want to say, oh, so we were in Vietnam like for 18 years. We were in Iraq for many, many years. We're in for all the, I don't like to say World War II because that was a biggie, but we were 4.5, almost 5 years in World War II. We were in the Korean War for 7 years. I've been doing this for 6 weeks. And their military is totally defeated. They're outside of the little wise guy ships, I call them the wise guy ships, the little boats that they have running around with guns in them. And we'll take them out too when we see them. But
the past presidents, when they went to war, had X amount of years. Trump only gets 6 weeks, and he is asked how long is this going to last. Now, we know what time it is, though. It's just all a distraction. I find it very ironic when these e-files is being released, and his name is on these documents plenty of times. That's when he wants to go to war. I call cap. Let me know in the comment section. Is this war a distraction, or is he really looking out for the best interest for the American people?
Doesn't care about, I don't think anybody else would ever let me do.
What do you say, sir, that you tend to invite Vladimir Putin to the G20 in Miami? Is that the case?
no, but if he came, it would be probably very helpful.
We're in a fight for the heart and soul of this country.
I saw gas was $4 there. I've seen the groceries. I take my kids, they go to they want to go to a McDonald's drive-thru, and I do 3 Happy Meals, and it's $40 because they want the Huntrix meal, which they don't eat all the chicken nuggets.
That people look at somebody like Trump because there is no alternative. Bottom line, there is no Democratic Party, or virtually no Democratic Party in West Virginia at all. Now, why that is so is a subject for another discussion, but it's the complete failure of the Democratic Party not to be able to provide an agenda for the working class of the state of West Virginia. And unfortunately, that's true in a number of other states as well.
So it seems that Trump is kind of catching on as to what's going on in America, especially with what's happening in Texas. And he actually released a statement talking about job replacement and how white people are finding it difficult to find jobs because families, primarily Chinese and Indian immigrants, are moving over to America, bringing their entire families. And I want to pinpoint something that he said because he said they're coming from hellholes. And that's something that people have been saying for a long time now. India is not some place that's just absolute paradise. You aren't booking your 2027 vacation to go to India India. And I'm sorry if that offends you, but India would 100% be considered a third world country. I don't know if you've seen the pictures or not, but it seems to me that Trump is finally realizing what's going on and bringing to attention the things that some people in Texas have been talking about. So if the President of the United States can acknowledge that not only is India a hellhole, but Indians are coming in and taking jobs from Americans, then why can't our own Texas government realize that? And since Greg Abbott's the type of person to only swing a certain direction based on how other people feel, is he finally going to say something about this? Or should Trump call out Greg Abbott for being so invested within the Indian community, and in return, that being the downfall of Texas?